What is up, Watch fam? Happy Friday, and welcome to this week's episode of Liquor Run. I am Christian from Theo and Harris. This is my old man,
Rolly.
And today we're going to be diving into a bottle of what, Dad? This isn't champagne.
We've had this before. This is Prosecco from Italy, Northern Italy.
And we're going to be talking about Rolex's release of the new Pepsi GMT Master and how odd it is that Tudor basically released the same watch. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Before we jump into it, a quick wristwatch check. What are you wearing, Dan?
I thought I was wearing your watch.
This is so Blue Dial Datejust are very, very rare watches. Anyone who's in the Datejust world, Rolex world, knows that they're probably the most rare and desirable dial. So I have one. So my dad saw this one and thought it was also either mine or one of the teenage watches. This watch is in for service. So is it is it probably
Fret not.
Yeah,
it's
taking very good care of it. This is the timing process of the watch. Got to keep an eye on it. And I am wearing Anna's Personal Universal Geneve Pole Adder. So neither of us are wearing our own watches today.
Nope.
But this watch is on a Teenage Sark strap. I don't want to give away too much, but there might be some new Teenage John Rousseau straps coming out very soon. Get excited, guys. All right, so
excited.
So today, let's introduce the topic real quick, then jump into a bottle of wine.
Let's open and let's talk. Right.
Let's do it. Start open.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the Rolex Pepsi GMT is iconic. Right? It's probably one of the most iconic watches, Rolexes, almost anything ever. Right? Yeah. Always scary. So it's the icon status that even attracted you to the watch, right? And mom got you one, but
yes.
you wanted it.
Yes, my 40th birthday.
Right. But Rolex discontinued it in 2007. So Rolex discontinued one of their most successful, desirable, famous models ever, or configurations ever.
In what year?
2007.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a stir. And even more than a stir in 2007, it's been a real stir, in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. To the point where people have been begging for the GMT in Pepsi back. And this year, finally, Rolex delivered.
And it came back.
And it came back.
In its original form?
A little altered. But let's have a glass of wine and we'll talk about it.
Salud.
I always love Mianeto.
I do.
It's a tasty, affordable Prosecco.
Yeah.
Right? How much is the bottle?
That bottle is probably $12.
Yep. I mean, not expensive by any means, but just a tasty bottle of wine.
This is just great sipping, casual.
Oh yeah, summertime.
Unpretentious, summertime.
100%.
Outdoors.
Yeah.
If you want it straight like this, you have it, and it's lovely.
Otherwise,
you could put fruit juice in it. Make mimosa.
Sure.
Okay. Or Bellini.
Yeah.
Right.
With peach.
Peach. We could use different juices. Blood orange juice. So it's a real.
It's a good option.
It's a real Italian thing.
$12. It's tasty.
Yeah, Northern
and
Italian.
Yep. And it doesn't contemplate about, but it's great bottle of wine. So this is the watch.
Mm-hmm.
It was released on a Jubilee bracelet and not an oyster, which there is historical precedence to say that GMTs are at home on Jubilees. And the bezel is ceramic.
Mm-hmm.
It has crown guards. It is a logical modern evolution of the GMT Master.
Yes.
First of all, what do you think about it?
I like it. I like it a lot, even though it has a Jubilee bracelet.
Yeah, because yours is on an oyster.
Mine's on an oyster, but I really do like. This has a ceramic dial, right?
It's not your bezel.
Bezel.
Which meaning that this bezel will
never
not fade like yours did.
Right. No, I like it. I like the look of it.
I think a lot of the charm about yours, though, is the fact that it did fade.
Without question.
I love that yours faded.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there's a story behind that, right? The fact you can tell that it's been out for years.
Yep. And technically, that's an imperfection.
Yeah.
Technically, that's probably not how it should be, right? I mean, you're buying, one of the best watches you can buy, and then it kind of corrodes. That's a terrible thing if you think about it. But the way we look at it, the way you look at it, and I do, so many of the vintage watch fans here look at it like, oh my God, that's you. Actually, ghost bezels are worth more money. Your bezel is worth more because it has faded out than it would be if it was new. So it's definitely a perspective thing, but that will never happen with this watch.
Okay.
Which is interesting. And this is a $9,200 watch. right? Which is pretty hefty compared to when you bought yours, when Mom bought yours 12 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think in like the high 3s or like the low 4s. Low 4s. Yeah. So this watch is more than doubled in price.
Right.
Which is pretty remarkable, right?
Yeah, it certainly is.
But Rolex didn't just release this watch to satisfy the Pepsi, checkbox. They released another one through Tudor, their subsidiary brand, and that is this watch, the Black Bay GMT, which is obviously, a classic Tudor. A classic Tudor means Rolex. It's very true in form, but price, it's $4,000.
Yeah.
So versus 9,200 is a big difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this watch, and then what it means and how what Rolex's decision to kind of play through Tudor, what that means to you.
I think that this is a great way. First of all, Tudor is a very distinct brand, even though it is a Rolex spinoff. Mm-hmm. But they've done a really good job of separating those two brands. So they never intertwine.
It's not, hey, you can't afford a Rolex, go buy a cheap Tudor.
It's never been.
They're separate in many ways.
Very separate, and each stands on its own merits. I think this is a great idea. The fact that you've been able to take that GMT concept, put a Tudor, label on it, actually come out with a pretty nice looking watch. I mean, it doesn't have the crown guard.
Well, what's kind of funny is this watch, this Tudor Black Bay GMT, is actually more historically accurate than the modern GMT, the modern by Rolex. There's no crown guards, which the original GMT did not have crown guards.
Okay.
The dial features a chapter ring, which is a small detail, but you can notice it here. Again, and its case is cut with chamfers, which you can see here. They're these kind of super sharp, defining edges on each side of the case. Classic Rolex, not something that exists in modern Rolex. And as a vintage Rolex, geek and fanatic, even though I personally don't dabble in the ultra big end worlds of vintage crazy GMTs and vintage crazy subs, it is amazing to see chamfers. If you've ever held a vintage Rolex with chamfers, and a lot of vintage Tudors have it as well, it just adds such definition and like substance to a watch, and I would kill to see Rolex do it, but they won't. So to see Tudor do it, I know it sounds geeky and like kind of like nitpicky, but praise Tudor because chamfers are gorgeous.
I'm glad that Tudor chose not to go with a faux patina look on the watch.
It would have cheapened it.
I think so.
And I'm a big faux patina fan. I happen to think that if it's same function, and a watch just looks better with a different color, then that's great.
Right.
Like, why not do it?
Right.
But you're right though, because this watch is so literally like a reissue, or so not just a reissue, but so literally inspired by the past. That would have been a little bit cheap.
Yeah, you don't need to do that.
Gotta be honest, I'm proud of Tudor, man. In a weird way, Tudor has recreated, not a total reissue, but in many ways recreated
the original
GMT.
That's an interesting point.
And at less than half the price, $4,000.
Yeah.
It's
great.
What I think is so brilliant about this is you see Vacheron Constantin. What is Vacheron Constantin to you? And don't you don't need to get too heady. I mean, what does it mean to you? If you see someone wearing a Vacheron Constantin, what do you think about that person?
I think, well, first of all, upper crust.
A ton of money.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of the 3 heritage brands in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Serious cash. And in the effort to the race to the bottom, in the effort to be able to be available to more and more people, Vacheron has introduced this 56 or 58 line, which starts at $11,000, right? So Vacheron is moving in the direction, as many brands might be, of, hey, let's be more affordable, right? Let's reach more people.
Right.
But because it's under the Vacheron name, it in many ways dilutes the brand, dilutes the value and the oh wow, that guy's got a lot of money, or oh wow, that guy not just has a lot of money but has tremendous taste. Rolex is able to expand that audience base, that customer base, through a different brand. So yes, they're achieving the reach and simultaneously not putting their own brand in danger.
Right.
That to me is impressive. That's impressive. Because no Rolex fans, well, few Rolex fans at most, will be upset that Tudor is producing a GMT.
No.
Whereas many Vacheron owners that bought into the heritage and the wealth and the image, they're like, "What are you guys serious? Mm-hmm. It's a cheap watch.
Right.
The watch is not Vacheron quality.
Right.
I think it's very smart on Rolex's behalf.
I do too. Yeah, I love it. And I would absolutely wear that watch.
Now, you have your Pepsi.
I do.
But now the question is, let's say all things were equal, right? Try to take out your emotions.
Yeah.
Is it your Pepsi, the new Pepsi, or the Tudor?
No, it's mine.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, in so many ways, the new watches are, they're very sexy. But I love your watch, 16710, I believe, and that is probably one of the last, vintage or old world Rolexes. Because after that, everything went super case, and everything became a little bit less utilitarian, and a little bit more blingy. Not that Rolex is blingy. I certainly, Breitling with their diamonds is blingy,
Right.
But I think the true tool nature of Rolex was preserved under your reference. Awesome conversation, Daddy-O. Cheers. Cheers to Rolex and Tudor.
Let's finish this bottle.
Let's finish this bottle. It is Thursday after all.
That's right.
Salud, Daddy-O.
Salud. Cheers.